Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of For the Fans podcast. We are here. We were talking, and we got distracted and kind of missed our start time by a few minutes, but we're here now.
We are, and we've got all the good stuff, obviously, for this week, because obviously we got the Super Bowl on Sunday, and boy, do we have things to cover.
Yes, we
And also,
do.
I'm really excited for our For the Fun. Our For the Fun is going to be a good one.
Oh yeah, that's
Looking
honestly one of the ones I've been most excited about in a long time. We've had some good ones this year, honestly.
We have, honestly, it's crazy to think, Shane, that we're about to end our fifth season. We've been doing this for over 5 years now.
Man, kind of sad, but
Good
also at
time.
the same time, like, man, you know what? Next year, Jaguars Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I need it.
versus
I need
Bears.
it.
We say this
Jaguars
at the end
versus
of every
Bears.
year. We say this at the end of every year. We're like, next year for sure, Jaguars versus Bears.
I just want to see it happen once in my lifetime.
Right? Oh man. All right, let's jump into this here. We've got to cover the remainder of the coaching hires that have happened here before we jump into the topic about Super Bowl 58. And that, of course, let's just go through the remaining coaching candidates that we haven't mentioned in the past. Some of these I feel like are pretty good hires, like we've talked about in the past. Shane, the Seattle Seahawks are hiring Ravens DC Mike McDonald as their new head coach. I think that's a good hire. He can bolster up the defense there, and then they just got to kind of figure out what they're doing on the offensive side with the future at quarterback. But I think he's a good move there for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well,
Um, let's see. Carolina Panthers hired former Buccaneers OC Dave Canales as their new head coach. I don't think this is the best one. It's not necessarily anything against Dave Canales, but I don't really know if anyone can fix the Panthers right
I
now.
I don't even think firing Frank Reich was the right call because he didn't even have a full season. It wasn't like a Urban Meyer or other bad coaching scenario. It was just, hey,
Yeah,
this isn't working. We're not winning. You're gone.
pretty much. That's pretty much what happened. And I'm almost wondering if we might see more of the same here. Maybe not necessarily in less than one season, but after 2 seasons, I could see it happening again with the Panthers. Yeah,
Yeah, Panthers
not
just
not
bad.
Yeah. This one is a little bit of a head scratcher here. You got the Washington Commanders hiring Dan Quinn. I really think this hire happened after Ben Johnson said he was going to stay with the Lions. I think he was kind of the prime candidate there, and then when he said no, never mind, I'm not going there, then it changed things. Dan Quinn's not necessarily a bad hire. I mean, he did fine at Atlanta for a time being. He could definitely take over things and make the defense good. I mean, look what he did in Dallas. Um, We'll have to see what happens on the offensive side because he's hiring Cliff Kingsbury as the offensive coordinator, and I don't I don't necessarily like that pick, but it could be worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, when looking at a lot of the coaching hires as well, I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, there was a lot of defensive coordinators put into the head coach role.
Well, we talked about that just now. I mean, the Seahawks, that's a defensive coordinator. Dan Quinn's a defensive coordinator. The other one we got to talk about here is Raheem Morris. The Falcons rehired him because
Hmm.
he was their DC. Then he was their interim head coach when Dan Quinn was fired. Back when he was with Atlanta, and then they hired Arthur Smith, and then they canned him, and they brought back Raheem Morris.
Yeah,
So
and a
that
surprising turn of events. I'm shocked that Mike Vrabel and Bill Belichick did not get picked up at all.
Belichick makes sense because I feel like it's sort of a thing of its old news sort of thing. People are just like, well, he's just not relevant anymore. People are probably thinking, well, it was all Tom Brady. Why would we want to hire this guy anymore? He's going to want to try and have everything his way, and we want to write the culture our way. That one makes sense.
Yes,
Vrabel, Vrabel, I'm scratching my head. I'm surprised he didn't get hired as a head coach.
because
He
I
did
mean,
good things with the Titans.
yeah, I was like, even when he was released from the Titans, a lot of people were saying, oh, he's gonna be the first coach picked up, and I agreed with them, and I'm shocked he went under the radar.
Well, yeah, because you look at the remainder, but and Vrabel's a defensive guy. That's his bread and butter. But you look at even with him gone, you look at the coaches that are still in the league that are defensive minded. I mean, there's a couple. I mean, you've got you've got the Patriots' new head coach Jared Mayo. He's a defensive guy. Robert Saleh with the Jets' defense. Who else do we have? I think all the AFC North coaches are offensive minded. Um, Technically, Antonio Pierce's defense with the
Yeah,
Raiders.
that's true. I will say I
I can't.
I, I approve of Antonio Pierce.
Yes, I can't remember what Sean Payton's specialty is. I feel like it's defense, but it might be offense.
I
Look that
think
up
it
for
might
me,
be
will you?
offense. I think it
Yeah.
might be offense.
D'Amico Ryans for the Texans is defense. Um, uh, the Brian Callahan though, the Titans, he's offense. You got and then in the NFC East, you've got
Sean Payton
yeah, Dan,
is offense.
he is offense. Okay. NFC East, you got Dan Quinn, obviously, but the other three are offense. In the NFC North, Dan Campbell's defense. Sure. Maybe no, he's O line. It's his specialty. I don't think Dan Campbell's defense. Matt Eberflus is for the Bears.
That's true.
Uh, Mike McDonald for the Seahawks is one. Jonathan Gannon for the Cardinals is the defensive guy. Dennis Allen for the Saints, the defensive guy. Raheem Morris for the Falcons. I think Todd Bowles is a DC for the Bucks. I mean, yeah, you got a couple right there.
I think even if we jump down to the AFC South, I think D'Amico Ryans is a
Yeah,
defensive coach.
I mentioned
Okay,
Ryan. You were looking up Sean Payton
yeah.
when I mentioned D'Amico
Doug
Ryans.
Peterson is offense.
Shane Steichen's offense, Brian Callahan's offense. It's just D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah, but I mean, D'Amico Ryans did good this year, so can't knock anything.
My pick for coach of the year. I really hope he gets it.
Oh man, I think he deserves it more than anybody. Yes, some teams went further, but he took a team that a lot of people said was gonna be a really bad team this season, and they went into the playoffs and they did really well.
They made it to the divisional round. They made it to the divisional round. That's pretty good. All right, we need to cover the two conference championships here. Look, it's been 2 weeks now, so there's not much we can stay here. We can stay here with this, but let's at least talk about the losers, because obviously we'll be talking plenty about the Chiefs and the 49ers when we talk about the Super Bowl. So why don't you start us off with the Lions? What do we got to say about the Detroit Lions?
So the Lions, I thought they had it in the first half.
Me too.
I thought, I was like, are we going to see the Lions in the Super Bowl? I will be so happy if the Lions do a Super Bowl. And then the second half, the 49ers came back hot, and the Lions seemed to step off the gas pedal a little bit.
Yeah, and it kind of just turned into a disaster from there. I mean, for all intents and purposes, they made some costly mistakes. Jahmyr Gibbs' fumble was a big one.
Yeah.
And the Niners, they just caught fire. And I mean, that's tied for the biggest comeback in the playoffs.
Yep.
What the Niners did.
Yep, and I mean, gotta applaud the Niners for making that comeback, because I think the Lions are like, we got this in the bag, and we're a little too confident going into the second half, and then it cost them. With that said, though, one thing that I found very interesting is that Coach Campbell himself said it is going to be hard to get back here, because he said that in like the post conference. A lot of people were like immediately jumped on him saying,
"Don't say that, man! Like you're basically saying you gave up." Sort of thing.
Yeah, which that's not the case in at least my mind. From what I understand it saying is, it's not going to be easy. When we came in, a lot of people overlooked us and are like, oh, it's the Lions, they haven't been good in a long time, yada yada yada. What it is now is everyone now has their eyes on the Lions, and they are going to be looked at, and people are going to take them more seriously than they would some lower ranked hidden teams.
It's true. And I look at, the rest of the state of the NFC North now, and I would hope the Lions are able to rebound, and this is not going to be a fluke season or something like that. You know what I mean?
Because I think it comes down to the Vikings re-signing Kirk Cousins.
Yes, but it's not the Vikings that I'm most concerned about. It would be the Packers. I think the Packers are on their way up again, and they've clearly proven that in the playoffs. Now, granted, some people are saying Jordan Love is not. This was a fluke starting season, and he's going to be horrible next year. I'm not so sure about it.
I mean, I'll say this:
as far as the Lions go, I'd like to say that they're going to be fine, because Goff has proven you can win them. They've still got those two running backs. I mean, Gibbs is only going to get better. He's a rookie this year. Sam Laporta is only going to get better.
And he was only a rookie.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to make a few changes, ideally on the defensive side, and they could be really, really good next year.
They have a very, very young team, so they're going to be able to spend money places that a lot of other teams won't, and they're only going to build upon the roster they currently have.
Yes. I mean, I think they're gonna be okay.
Yeah, I think the Lions will be okay. They have some competition, but I think they'll be able to fight it out a bit.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Um. Okay, let's transition over here to the Baltimore Ravens. It's honestly a sadder situation for the Baltimore Ravens
Yeah.
because boy did they choke that. That was frustrating.
That was just
I mean,
boring and bad game to watch.
the Chiefs didn't even score in the second half, and they still won the game. Um, if you got to give the credit to the Chiefs defense, and we'll talk more about that here when we discuss the Super Bowl. But they held off the Ravens' number one rushing attack. And outside of that, the Ravens just fell asleep at the switch. Lamar kept getting sacks. He didn't really have any impressive plays except for that one big throw that he threw to I think it was Zay Flowers right at the beginning of the game, and then also the catch that he made to himself. But the problem was Zay Flowers had that fumble at the 1 yard line.
Yep.
Lamar threw that interception in triple coverage that basically ended the game practically, and it just goes back down here that basically Baltimore is continuing to struggle. They cannot get over that hump. They're kind of like the Buffalo Bills. The only difference is they do have Super Bowl wins, unlike the Bills.
Yeah, to think we could have almost had a Ravens versus Lions Super Bowl.
It certainly would have been more entertaining, and I think a lot more fans would have liked it.
More die-hard football fans, because a lot of fans like the 49ers and the Chiefs, but I don't want to dive into that.
Well, we will dive into it here in a
I don't want to
second,
dive
but
into it right now. I'm gonna save it.
yeah, the Ravens. It's just sad here because obviously this is going to continue to tarnish Lamar Jackson's legacy. I think he's going to continually have to deal with the whole he's a running back quarterback rhetoric, and he's not going to be able to get it done when the lights are bright in the postseason because Lamar's record in the postseason is not good. He's only won 2 games in the postseason.
Yeah, whereas Brock Purdy, every game that he has started and stayed in the whole time, is undefeated.
I mean, we go over here into the transition side of things, talking about the Chiefs and the 49ers, because here we are, Super Bowl. This is Super Bowl 57. I don't know why I said 58. No, this is Super Bowl 58.
This says 58. Next year's
This
59.
is 58. Yep. Um, so okay, let's talk about the two teams that are in it now. We've got the Chiefs and the 49ers. You mentioned Brock Purdy, and his situation, which I think is going to be very key for the Super Bowl matchup. Because now the question is when you talk about the two quarterbacks are here, Mahomes has done this. He's done this several times now within the past 5 years. Whereas this is Purdy's first time. Purdy's younger. While he does have his good moments, he's definitely more inexperienced. But the roster that he has around him includes some players who have been to the Super Bowl before. The last time these two teams met up against each other back in 2020. Um, so I don't know. His situation could be interesting. He's in this whole Super Bowl media period that we've had, leading up to the game on Sunday. He's come out and he's basically said, "Look, I don't care if I'm not the best player on my team. I don't need to be. I just need to manage the system right. And if you don't think that's good enough, that's your opinion. I'm just trying to win." And I appreciate that Brock Purdy is acknowledging that and saying that because maybe that takes the heat off of him a little bit and just recognize Brock, just go out there and play the game. You know what I mean? Ignore
Yeah.
the haters. Um, but I also believe that if the 49ers want to win this game, Brock Purdy can't be the only one making plays. Because and where I'm going with this is because I feel like when they played the Packers and they beat the Packers, Brock Purdy wasn't making plays. It was the rest of the team, and they barely escaped with the win. And then against the Lions, it felt like a lot of the other players kind of fell asleep at the switch, especially the defense, and it was Brock Purdy who had to put the team on his shoulders practically.
Yeah, it's been
The whole
they haven't had that they haven't had that consistency where everybody's playing in. Whereas I feel like with the Chiefs feel like they turned everything on every side of the ball.
And that's where we're going with this because honestly, okay, let's transition away from probably where the biggest X factor is here the um for the
Niners.
49ers. Yeah. All right, I'm like trying to figure out how to like formulate my words here, so I'm sorry. Um where I was going with this is the fact that it's not so much Brock Purdy, I feel like, that is going to be the big difference maker for being able to keep the Niners in this game. the defense has to fix things. That 49ers defense was supposed to be really good, and they've been horrible the whole postseason, especially against the Lions. This is different. The Lions offense is good, but this is Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
It's different.
It is
It's
very
different.
different.
And it's not a good different. So, and then on top of that too, okay, so I feel like I'm talking a lot here, Shane, but I gotta at least get my thoughts on this.
No. Because here's the thing: you're going deep diving with all the analytical, and I can't argue and debate anything because I agree with you every step of the way.
And I've had 2 weeks to think about this. I mean, let's just say it off here first, Shane. Let's go with our picks here because we agree as far as who's going to win the Super Bowl. We do believe the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win this.
Yes.
It's not a pick that we like. We're not happy about it.
To be fair, I've been telling my wife for the past week, I'm like, I'm not looking forward to the Super Bowl. I don't like this matchup. I don't like this Super Bowl. I'm not excited for it.
I am at least intrigued to see how it's going to turn out, but I'm also not excited for what I believe is going to be the outcome, which is the Chiefs. I would be happy with the 49ers winning, but
I'm not happy with either. I'm part of the I'm the portion of Americans like, can both teams just lose?
Yes, I know, because you have some issues with the 49ers fan.
I have issues with both sides, honestly.
Yes, I know, but that's why you won't side with the 49ers, is what I'm saying, is because you got issues with the fan base.
I mean, it's not so much the fan base. Like, I haven't seen enough from Brock Purdy yet. I will say I've seen some flashes where he could be good. I've also seen some flashes where he's really bad and just thriving in a good system, and I'm just like, it feels like back a few years ago when we had the Chiefs and the 49ers again. It feels like Jimmy Garoppolo all over again, just succeeding because of the system.
See, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that because I would easily advocate that Brock Purdy is a superior quarterback to Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yes,
because
I'll say that.
Because he can use his legs. He can make more accurate throws, for one thing. He just seems to be smarter than Jimmy G. But
he has such a better roster than Jimmy G had as well.
He does, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I would actually argue that Jimmy Garoppolo, when he took the Chiefs to the Super Bowl, had a better defense than Brock Purdy does.
Yes, 49ers then had a better defense. Now they have a better offense. But, I mean, still, you look at this team. You got players, like, literally just to name players. CMC, Brandon Aiyuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Chase Young, Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead. I'm just like, that's 8 players on both sides of the ball that are very, very good, and 4 of them are at least deemed as, like, top at their position.
Actually, I don't know if you saw Chase Young might get benched for the Super Bowl. Apparently, he's been playing as though he's uninterested in really committing, and so they're talking about benching him because he's becoming a liability.
What? That disappoints me.
Well, it is what it is. But, we've talked about, the 49ers defense has to step up here if they want to be able to stay in this game and keep Mahomes at bay. Because they weren't able to finish the job, 4 years ago. And they've got a chance to do it again. You've got a couple of players like Armstead, like Bosa, who are here again that are saying, well, you got to finish the job. Yeah, okay, cool. You got to step up then.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the problem on the other side. Mahomes, since that Super Bowl 4 years ago, has gotten better. Travis Kelce has gotten better. Most notably, the Chiefs' defense.
Chiefs' defense has gotten a lot better, but I will say I think their offense has taken a big step backwards.
And see, this playoff season makes me feel differently. It felt like the Chiefs were just being the Chiefs out there. The difference is there's no Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I will say the Tyreek Hill is a big gut punch for the Chiefs, but I think the reason the Chiefs has shined in the offseason is the emergence of their rookie wide receiver, Rashee Rice.
Yeah, and if Rice can basically do the same smart things that Tyreek Hill was doing, it's an easy done deal for the Chiefs. Because I don't know if you remember, back during Super Bowl 54, the Chiefs were about to lose the game. And then Tyreek Hill, it was like a 3rd and 15 play. It was an awesome out-of-nowhere, you've got to be kidding me catch. And that allowed the Chiefs to get back in the game, score, and then eventually win.
And we've already seen the Chiefs do that this postseason even.
Mm-hmm.
And the person on the receiving end of that was Rashee Rice. So I'm just like, So
here's our situation moving forward here. We've got to talk about the X factors here. We've kind of already covered it a little bit. The X factor for the Chiefs offense, the biggest thing is Patrick Mahomes. If Mahomes does what Mahomes does, it's fine. But you dove a little deeper and said Rashee Rice has to come to play too, because otherwise the 49ers will basically just say, okay, cool, swamp Mahomes and double team Travis Kelce.
Yep.
Rashee Rice has to come to play.
Yep. And honestly, I don't know there's many wide receivers you trust outside of Rashee Rice at that point.
Yeah, MVS has his moments, but he also has had some bad moments this season. And
Kadarius Toney has had very bad moments this season.
Yep, absolutely. X factor for the Chiefs defense, really? I mean, it's that whole defense. They show up to play, and they do what they've been doing against the Bills, against the Ravens. I mean, game over, man. It's going to be a tough night for Brock Purdy.
I got to say, for the defense, what I think is going to come down to is covering the short plays.
Yes, because you're right. The 49ers, when the going gets tough, they like to dink and dunk.
Mm-hmm. And it's successful for them. That's why they do it.
Well, because they can. You think to yourself, it's not like the situation on the Chiefs' other side where it's like, okay, cool, maybe Rice isn't really in on it for this game, so we just double team Travis Kelce. It's hard to do that with the 49ers. You want to try and double team, let's say, let's try and make sure CMC doesn't run the ball or they don't pass to him. Okay, cool. Well, there's Brandon Ayuk, there's Deebo Samuel, there's George Kittle.
It's just, you got to watch out for those dink and dunk plays, and that's the only way to stop them. Because I noticed that the 49ers like to run those dink and dunk plays a lot, and that's how they get a lot of their yards. If you're able to stop that and force Purdy to play a little bit of hero ball, it might be a bit tougher for the 49ers to get on track.
I would agree with that. And I also have to, let's transition here to the 49ers offense, because this is my personal thoughts on this.
Yeah.
The 49ers offense. If the Niners want to win this game, this Super Bowl, it won't come from Brock Purdy being the hero.
Okay.
It has to come from Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
Because he is the one uncertain factor that the Chiefs defense needs to take into account here. He is better than Raheem Mostert or Devon Achane who they faced at the beginning of the season. We go further deeper into that. Lamar Jackson is trying to play quarterback, so he's got the dual role whether he's going to run or whether he's going to throw the ball. McCaffrey, it doesn't matter. McCaffrey will just steam plow.
Honestly, Christian McCaffrey is kind of like the new Derrick Henry.
That's a good way of putting it. He just seems like he's more elusive. You know what I mean? Like, Henry just was bull in a china shop. You know what I mean? You just couldn't knock the guy down because he was so big and bulky. Whereas McCaffrey's wiry. He's agile.
And he can catch.
Exactly. That's a big thing. And so I believe that, Purdy can essentially do his dink and dunk passes, which I think throws the Chiefs defense off guard. And I think it could get a little tricky here, and we may have a close game, assuming, Purdy has all these different options. And you never know. Purdy's shown that he can take the ball and run, and he can pull that off. But McCaffrey, that'll be tough. It'll be interesting to see how the Chiefs defense handle him, because he is better than Achane or Mostert. He is better than a Gus Edwards or a Justice Hill. He's better than a Lamar Jackson because he has less to worry about. The X factor also has to come from the 49ers defense. They cannot, I repeat, not play the way that they did against the Packers and the Lions. They do, it's over. It's over before the half. Mahomes will run them down to the ground.
And I think that's the other thing, is that they have to pressure Mahomes.
It won't be a situation where they can come back like they did with the Lions. Mahomes is different.
Especially in the playoffs. Don't know what it is.
You're absolutely right. They have to pressure him. They know that works. Because look what the Buccaneers did a couple of years ago. Mahomes was useless out there.
I would say he was useless. The team was useless, but he couldn't do anything because of it.
Yes, but he was running for his life out there because they were just swarming him nonstop.
What was it, 400 or 500 yards that he ran in that game?
Exactly. And so the thing is you would think that the 49ers defense, if they're committed enough, would have the talent and the ability to be able to pull that off. And I think it starts from the top. I'll admit I'm not as big of a fan of Steve Wilks as DC, compared to D'Amico Ryans or Robert Saleh of the past. But that's who's there. And he's already admitted, he's like, we've got to be better. Bosa's admitted, he's like, we got to be better. But the biggest thing that I'm seeing with that is if you want to stop Mahomes, you got to keep pressuring him almost every play. You've got to blitz plenty, and you've got to get sacks.
Mm-hmm.
You can get away with not sacking Jordan Love because Jordan Love is just coming into his own. You don't sack Patrick Mahomes, it will cost you everything.
Yeah, they got to put pressure on Mahomes. They got to bring him to the ground and build that momentum early.
Yep, which we do believe will happen, because here's the thing. We believe these are our picks. Who scores first? You believe the 49ers score first. I believe the Chiefs will score first. I think it just depends on who gets the ball. I think they'll score on the opening drive.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm like, I honestly, I think the 49ers are getting the ball first, and that's why I have them scoring first.
Yep. Now, who leads at halftime? We both say it's going to be the 49ers. So that's what we're saying. They're going to get off to an early lead, but will they hold that lead? That's the big question.
I don't even think the lead is going to be that much.
Yeah, it might be by like 3 points. And Kyle Shanahan has a reputation of blowing leads. That's where the concern comes in here. Last 2 times Kyle Shanahan has gone to the Super Bowl, he's blown the lead.
Yeah.
He can't do that again. So it's either a thing of, okay, cool, Shanahan, maybe you're going to have to play the game where you come from behind again, like you did these 2 times in the playoffs. But if you do get off to a lead, you cannot let your foot off the gas, offensively or defensively, or otherwise we will have a repeat of what happened in Super Bowl 54. Yeah, that's the first time when he was with the Falcons as their OC, but also the second time when he was the head coach for the 49ers, the last time they played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Did not go well.
Did not. Let's go over our other ones here. What guest artists may join Usher for the halftime show? We didn't say really like which ones, but we guessed the number.
Yeah. I'd say 4.
I said 2 guest artists. Yeah, you said 4. I was like, dang, that's a big number.
Well, because every time I hear an Usher song, he always has someone collaborating with him.
Yeah, okay. I can understand
that. I can see 3 to 4 people coming out. I also see 2. I'm like, okay, it depends on how many people he calls up, because honestly, I saw Usher as the halftime performer. I'm like, wait, Usher's still around?
Yeah, I'm going to be real with you. I was not that excited when this one was announced. It was different than, say, a couple of years ago when I know you'll probably want to talk about, like, say, Shakira and J-Lo.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think when the last time the Chiefs and 49ers played, I know a lot of people weren't exactly having high hopes for that. It's just Shakira and J-Lo just they owned it. They were amazing. They surpassed expectations.
I expected that much from Shakira.
Okay, but where I was going with this is one Super Bowl halftime show that was expected to be good and did end up being good was that one in LA a couple of years ago, where you had, Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige, even 50 Cent. Like, it was good.
That was for like our generation too.
Exactly. That's why it was so good. I mean, we've talked about this before. Some of those artists I listened to in elementary. Some of them I listened to in junior high. Some of them I listened to in high school and college. It was full circle.
And then we had the Maroon 5 concert, which wasn't as good as either of those.
And, to be honest with you, I wasn't super into the Rihanna or the Weeknd concerts.
Yeah.
They were fine. They're okay. They were better than Maroon 5.
The Weeknd one, I can't blame the Weeknd for, because honestly, I think it would have been so much better, but it was during the COVID time, and it was a lot of technical difficulties that happened, so it was like a lot of stuff that's not on him. The only thing I hated about the Weeknd's performance was when he went into the shiny mirror room, and that just was disorienting.
That just became a meme, honestly.
It did, but man, so many people that were watching it were just like, this is giving me a headache.
I honestly feel like Rihanna's performance wasn't bad. I thought it was good. It's just, I'd probably just been so hyped up the year before with that crowd from Los Angeles, all those rappers and R&B artists.
There was the Katy Perry concert in 2015. No,
I was there for that Super Bowl. I was there. I was in the stadium for that one. That one was good.
Dang, jealous. Yeah, I was like, I saw like the giant or was it a giant lion? The giant lion coming out? No, it was a tiger.
No, it was a lion.
Oh, it was a lion? Because I know she's saying Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it was a lion, if I remember correctly.
Oh, man. Now I gotta figure this out.
I know. I'm like, gee, what was that? Because now I'm like, am I tripping here? Was it really? Yeah, it's a lion. It's a lion.
No, it's a tiger.
Oh, that is a tiger.
It
You're
is a
right. Oh,
tiger.
no. Well, if you close, it still kind of looks like a lion too.
It does look like a lion. So I honestly, I had to look up. They say it was officially a giant golden mechanical tiger, but it definitely looks like a lion a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, either way, that was 10 years ago. That
That was a
Super
pretty
Bowl was
good
almost
one.
10 years ago. Oh yeah, that was Super Bowl 49. That was the Malcolm Butler
Seahawks.
interception.
I was so sad. I,
Okay.
f- I felt
How
bad for the
about
Seahawks fans where they're like, why did we not run it? Why?
Oh, those are fun to watch. Those are fun to watch. Their reaction videos.
Oh
Okay,
man.
let's go. Let's go. Let's finish these last two things really quickly here. Let's probably not try and spend too much time on these last two, even though
Yeah,
we really want to. But who
I
will
don't
be
really
named
want
Super
to.
Bowl MVP? We both picked Patrick Mahomes just because we picked the Chiefs to win. It just seems
It's
like it's going to
usually a
be the most
quarterback
obvious
thing.
choice. Yep.
I almost
If
said
the
Travis
Chiefs win,
Kelsey. Almost said Travis
yeah,
Kelsey.
but here's where we go with this. If the Chiefs win, will Travis Kelce propose and will Taylor get to hoist the Lombardi? That's what
Ugh.
a lot of people are talking about.
Which is
You
why I
think the
said that.
proposal will you think the proposal will happen, but not the raising the trophy? I just hope neither one happens, which is why I'm kind of like, please 49ers, please Brock Purdy, do
To
what
be fair,
Lamar Jackson put in.
if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, Travis Kelsey gets named MVP. All of a sudden, you're just gonna hear Taylor Swift's love story come on, and then Travis Kelsey's gonna propose, and she's gonna say yes, and yada yada yada.
And they're gonna make millions of dollars doing
That
it.
that is why I am terrified if the Chiefs win, and I'm like, please don't let Travis Kelsey be the MVP, because if he is, it's gonna just set up like everything perfectly for a once in a lifetime proposal.
Pretty much, yeah. Also, mind you, did you know they're jacking up the prices for Disneyland the Monday morning? You know, in the off chance
What?
that uh, Taylor Swift is gonna be there for the parade.
Wow. Gosh.
Yeah, even Disney's gonna get a piece out of it.
I hate everything that this has become.
Tell me about it. And we talked about this before. It's not even Taylor Swift's fault. Like
No,
she doesn't even really want to be
she has
in the
said
spotlight.
multiple times, and it's like yelled at the camera people when they're pointing at her. She's like, "Go away."
Yeah, it's just like the NFL is like we're gonna milk the money out of this.
And I will say, because I saw so many people, they're like, everyone's complaining about seeing Taylor Swift, but when Eminem was there at the Lions game and they showed him X amount of times for this amount of time, no one complained. Then I'm like, because Eminem has been a die-hard Detroit Lions fan since forever.
Yeah, and the Lions are definitely the farthest thing from a dynasty, unlike the Chiefs.
Like, yeah, and also Eminem has stepped up multiple times to defend the Lions, and I'm like, you know what? I got mad respect for that.
Yeah, it's all I don't know. I'm definitely not one of those people that is like, oh, I'm not watching football if they keep on, showing Taylor Swift and
Yeah,
stuff like that. I'm just saying, I just wish that they dial it back a little bit.
yeah,
So,
because I mean,
hopefully,
I want to see the touchdown celebration, not see
yeah,
Taylor Swift.
oh, for sure. All I'm gonna say is this: NFL, you had your fun this year. Dial it back next year.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna say.
like
Because
they
like
always show the
we get
celebrities at the games.
yeah, fine, but you're showing it every time. Like, come on.
Like every time Travis Kelsey scores a touchdown, we don't need to see Taylor Swift. I want to see Travis Kelsey do a touchdown celebration with this team.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
Ah,
that's the whole reason I got annoyed with Taylor Swift thing. I'm like, I don't get to see the touchdown celebration. I get to see a celebrity cheer.
yeah. That's our picks for the Super Bowl. We think it'll be a Chiefs win. Probably either a dominant Chiefs win or they keep it close, but in the end they get the win out of it. The 49ers are going to try, but we feel like it's not going to be enough at the end. We could be wrong. We have been in the past. We picked the Chiefs to win against the Bucks and it didn't happen.
For old time's
Um,
sake, pick a score for this game.
okay, cool. Let's go. Let's go with 30 to 30 to 26 Chiefs.
Oh, see, I was thinking 31 to 27.
Okay. You were close.
Yeah, we're in the same ballpark of each other. All right, now let's get to the
Yep.
fun stuff. Get to the real
All
fun,
right, I'm
spicy
ready for this.
stuff.
Okay. Our for the fun. We talked about this 2 weeks ago, I believe, where we talk about our top 10 favorite players, but we're amping it up a little bit here. So we're going to be doing another top 10 rankings list. And we've talked about this before in 2 weeks ago, where we said we're going to rank our favorite current players. But we're also going to present a top 10 ranking of our top favorite players from our perspective favorite teams. And then we're also going to do a top 10 ranking of our all-time favorites. We're not going to get too much into the reasons as far as why these are our picks, but we may get chances here and there. But mostly, we essentially have to go through 6 lists here. So we hopefully we can do that within the 15 minutes that we have left.
Plenty
so,
of time.
Shane, why don't we kick it off here with our top 10 favorite current players? Start from 10, go to 1. Let's have you kick it off.
To be fair, I didn't put this one in any particular order. I just threw some names on here because I liked some of these players, and honestly, some of them I'm kind of indifferent about. So I got Joe Mixon.
Okay.
I like him because he took a cut in his contract. I got Gardner Minshew because how could I not? Micah Parsons. I like Micah Parsons.
Yeah, okay.
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb, that's a good pick. I
will say I hate that I have 2 Cowboys fans on this list.
I don't have any Cowboys on my list.
Yeah, I tried to avoid that, but I'm like, I really like Micah Parsons.
And CeeDee Lamb, I get it. I understand.
I got DK Metcalf.
Okay, yeah.
I still remember his draft pictures of him just being holed down. I'm like, that's a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I got Nick Chubb.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
I got Amon-Ra St. Brown. He emerged this year as one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's good. I love him.
I like David Montgomery. He's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
The other Josh Allen. Jaguars Josh Allen.
Yep.
And then I got Tank Dell. I really like Tank Dell.
Those are good picks. I like them.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 10, I got Austin Eckler. I know he's shuffled off and is not as good this year, but I love him. I've always just enjoyed watching him play. I think he's a genuine good dude. At number 9, I got Joe Burrow. See what I did there? Joe Burrow, number 9.
Joe Shiesty.
Joe Burrow. At number 8, I got Kirk Cousins. I love Kirk Cousins.
Oh, man. I forgot about Kirk Cousins. Dang it. I would totally swap someone out for Kirk Cousins.
At number 7, I got Khalil Mack. I'm still loyal to him even after he's gone from the Bears.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. At number 6, he really impressed me this year, and he's become one of my favorite players. I got C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, I almost put Stroud on here. I just wanted to see a little bit more.
Yep. I got 2 more quarterbacks on this list, and number 5 is one of them. And number 5, I got Lamar Jackson. I mean, I've always liked Lamar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he still belongs on this list. And number 4, I've got Brandon Ayuk. Obviously, I was following him back when he was in college, so nothing's really changed.
That one doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. Number 3, I've got Justin Fields. Got to have one Bear player in there, and I love Justin Fields.
I like Justin Fields, too. I think that's a good one. He almost made my list.
Yeah. Number 2, I got David Montgomery.
Heck yeah!
And number 1, as we've discussed in the past, my number 1 is George Kittle. He's my favorite player in the NFL.
I will say, George Kittle is great. I didn't know if this would have counted, but I almost put Jason Kelce on this list, but I'm like, he's not current because he's retired now, but this was his last season.
I would have counted it.
Yeah, I put him in an honorable mention category.
Gotcha. Okay, I like that. All right, let's move on to all-time top 10 from our favorite teams. So, Shane, your top 10 Jaguars players of all times. Now, it is going to be interesting seeing it, Shane, because obviously the Jaguars, when you compare it they're a young team in the long-term scheme of the NFL, whereas my Bears are one of the oldest teams.
And that's the one thing that I was excited for this, because I'm like, my team is very, very young in, like, top 5 youngest teams. Your team's one of the top 5 oldest. So I was like, you have a lot more history to dig through. I don't have as much history to dig through.
All right, so I'm excited to see what you came up with.
All right, so number 10, I got Brad Meester, who was an offensive lineman. He played like 14 seasons in the league, all with the Jaguars. He has like a bunch of records for being like the longest Jaguar player ever. So I was like, you know what? I got to give that out because that's awesome. Then I got wide receiver Jimmy Smith. He's been in a couple other teams. He was really good. I got wide receiver Keenan McCardle, who some people probably know, some people probably don't, whatever. This is where my list starts to get a little bit more interesting. Then I have John Henderson. I've sent you memes of him and had to explain it to him. He's the guy that before every single game had to be slapped across the face to get fired up.
I remember you saying that.
I was like,
That's right.
I was like, I know I sent that to you, and I had to put him on there just because of that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
Then I
Good
got
pick.
kicker Josh Scobie.
Okay, kicker on there.
Oh man, I love Josh Scobie. I was sad when he got old and then left and went to the Steelers and then retired. He was such a good kicker. Let's see. Then I got Rashean Mathis, who was a cornerback. So nice little
Okay.
defensive player. Then I got Paul Posluszny, linebacker.
Who is that?
It's a
I don't
linebacker.
think I know. I don't think I knew him.
Oh man, Paul Posluszny is awesome. He played with the club and he made an interception with the club as a hand.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I
Can't believe
saw
I know
that play
that.
and I was like, okay, you just went into like my top 10 players of all time.
Hey, cool. I like it.
I also just love his last name, Posluszny.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny last name.
Then I got Calais Campbell, the mayor of Satsonville.
Oh yeah, that's a good pick.
I love
I
Calais
understand
Campbell, although I can't understand half the things he says.
that.
Then I got running back Fred Taylor, who is a Hall of Fame inductee, possibly. We will find out tomorrow if he actually makes it.
Ooh, all right.
He is a very good running back and has gone severely underrated. Like he's in a certain club or something, and everyone else in that club that's even done less than him is already in the Hall of Fame. So I'm
Oh,
hoping he gets in.
I know. I know. Well, just wait until you get to mine, to mine as well. But I knew you were gonna put Fred Taylor on
Oh
there.
yeah, and then my number one, I almost put Fred Taylor here, but I gotta go with the other guy. I got Maurice Jones-Drew because I love Maurice
Jones-Drew.
Jones-Drew.
I knew you were gonna put MJD as your number one.
I
just had a
love
feeling.
Mojo.
Yeah, I understand. That's a good pick. That's a really good pick.
I just
Yeah.
love Mojo so much.
All right, here's my top 10, which, as we talked about, a little more history there, but still, most of these names should be pretty familiar because of the long, illustrious history of the Bears.
Hmm.
Number 10, I've got Cody Park. Just kidding.
I mean, he's in my top 10.
Yeah, right. Okay. No, number 10, I've got Mike Ditka. Not only just as the coach, but also as the player.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
great one.
Number 9, I got Matt Forte. Loved watching Matt Forte.
Oh, I
when he was
forgot
a
about
running back.
Forte.
Yeah,
Dang, Forte
yeah,
was
he's a
fun.
good one. Yep. Number 8, I got William Perry because you got to talk about the fridge when you talk about the Bears, especially the '85 Bears.
Oh yeah, I forgot he's the fridge. I always forget his name because I just know him
Yep.
as the fridge.
Yep. Number 7, I got Bronco Nagurski. Now he is an old one. He was a fullback and also a defensive tackle who
Wait,
played for the
what's
Bears.
his name?
Bronco Nagurski. He was a fullback and a defensive tackle, and was also a successful professional wrestler.
Okay, that's awesome.
Multiple time world heavyweight champion, and yes, he played for the Bears.
That's awesome.
Back to back NFL titles in the early 30s. Yep. Number 6, I got Gale Sayers. Passed away a couple of years ago. Excellent running back. Love reading about his history. Number 5, I have good old Papa Bear, George Halas.
Okay.
As the player, as the coach, as the owner, he's got to go down for all three.
You miss him as the owner?
I do. I do. No, I don't enjoy his posterity running things. Let me tell you that.
That's fair.
Yep. Number 4, I got Dick Butkus. Rest in peace, my guy. Passed away this year. Awesome.
Wasn't Dick
player.
Butkus in that like movie? What was it? Kicking and Screaming.
Yes, I believe he was. That was Mike Ditka.
That was
I'm
Ditka.
pretty sure.
Okay, I
That was
remember
Ditka,
Dick
yep.
Butkus as well though.
Yep. Number 3, I got Mike Singletary. I love Mike Singletary. I think he is so cool. Yep. Number 2, I got Devin Hester.
Oh yeah.
This goes back to what you were saying with Fred Taylor, because I have heard that most likely, it is very likely Devin Hester will be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame tomorrow.
Man, him and Fred Taylor deserve it.
And it needs to happen for Devin Hester, because you talk about Fred Taylor and how there's people with less worthy accolades and stats than that of Fred Taylor, and they're in the Hall of Fame and Fred Taylor's not. When you think of all-time punt returners, the first name that comes to mind should be Devin Hester.
I can't argue that. I think Devin Hester and Fred Taylor should both be in.
Yep, I agree. My number one goes without saying. My number one is sweetness himself, Walter Payton.
Yeah.
It's just who else do you pick? That's he's got to be my number one.
I will say, this is gonna be a little bit of a spoiler. I almost put Walter Payton in my top 10 all time, but I was like, I feel like you're gonna put him in your top 10 Bears, so I'm gonna let it slide.
Yeah, because that's the thing. We've now gone over our top 10 for our favorite teams. Now we go into our top 10 all time. But the interesting thing is, for those who are listening, when Shane does his top 10, he can't put any Jaguars players in there. Same
Nope.
thing for me. I can't put any Bears players in my top 10 all time.
I will say, I do have a Bears player in my top 10.
I'm sorry, I don't have a Jaguars player in my top 10.
That's fine. I don't expect you to know any Jaguars players.
I mean, I knew a few of the ones you named after, but not Poslinski, for example.
Paul Posluszny. Hey, you know
Posluszny,
Gardner Minshew.
I even got the name wrong. Oh, but Gardner Minshew, he's still around. I mean, come on.
I mean, honestly,
Hey.
I like Gardner Minshew just because he's a walking meme.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's hear your top 10 all time.
My number 10, I got my Bears player. I got Brian Urlacher.
Oh, good pick. I wanted to put him in my top 10.
I thought you would like that one. I was like, man, I remember me and my friend growing up, we would play NFL, we would try to injure Peyton Manning, and we just had Brian Urlacher just steamrolling Peyton Manning the entire game.
Oh, speaking of which, I don't know if you saw this, but Ray Lewis went undercover for the Pro Bowl games.
Yes!
And, he dressed up as custodian guy, and he'd, chirp at some of the players coming down the field, and, they could hear it was him. They knew it was him, but they couldn't see him because he was disguised. There's a picture, or there's video of Peyton Manning hearing his voice, and Peyton Manning's eyes go all wide. It's like PTSD for Peyton back when he was getting sacked by Ray Lewis. He was scared, about ready to run for his life. He was just like, I hear Ray Lewis, but where is he? I'm terrified.
Where is she?
Exactly. All right, that's a good pick. I like Brian Urlacher.
Brian Urlacher. At number 9, I got Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, good pick.
I like
Megatron.
Let's see, number 8. Oh man, I gotta say, I like him, but I think there's better people. I got Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
Ray Lewis.
Hey, it's a good pick.
Yeah, I liked him. I like some of these big defensive guys.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, I'm at number 7. Number 7, I got Drew Brees.
Yeah, good pick.
I love Drew Brees growing up. Number 6, I got Darren Sproles, who was a running back for the Chargers and the Saints.
I remember Sproles.
I love Sproles. Sproles was great. Let's see. Number 5, I got LaDainian Tomlinson.
Good pick.
Love LaDainian Tomlinson. At number 4, I got Phillip Rivers.
All right.
I love the trash talk from Phillip Rivers.
Yeah. That's a good pick. I wasn't expecting him to be on there for you, but yeah, that's a good one.
Man, I love Phillip Rivers. I mean, my parents are Chargers fans. They kind of bred that into me a little bit, so.
Yeah.
Let's see. Man, my top 3 was such a hard call. At number 3, I think I gotta go with Steve Smith.
Oh, okay.
I met him in person. He was so nice, but man, does he have an attitude, and he's ready to fight everybody, and I love it. Especially, no offense to him, he's a shorter man, but man, he will stare like a 6'7" lineman in the eye, ready to just box him. Love Steve Smith. Number 2, awesome. I got Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
I've always loved Peyton Manning. Pick. My number 1, I got Troy Polamalu.
I had a feeling you'd have him up there. Number 1, though.
Yeah, that top 3 was hard to decide.
Mm-hmm. I like your list. That's a good list. There are some players in your list that are also in mine.
I got some very common players, but I also got some like Brian Urlacher. I'm like, oh, not many people are gonna be like, oh, Brian Urlacher.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see if I have a couple like that too. But my thing is, mine are maybe a little bit more predictable than yours. So I'll give you credit there that you had some that was kind of like, oh, that's a good pick.
Yeah, I was a little sad I went with 3 quarterbacks, but that's fine.
Yeah, before I even get into my top 10, I should let you know I only have 1 quarterback in my
nice. I love it.
Yep. Number 10, I have Tony Gonzalez for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Man, I love Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah. Number 9, I have LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yep.
I love LT.
LT's so good.
Number 8, I have JJ Watt.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I freaking love JJ Watt and what
He
he
was
stands
so
for.
good.
Yeah. Number 7, I got Lawrence Taylor.
Yes, I was a fan of that.
Yep. Number 6, I have Randy Moss.
I had a feeling you were gonna pick Randy Moss.
Oh, he's one of my favorite wide receivers.
He's one of
I
everybody's
love.
favorite wide receivers.
He's just awesome.
He is.
Yeah. Number 5, I have Pat Tillman.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Especially when it comes to the whole side of his sacrifice and everything in the military. It's a big one for me, and he goes up on the list for that one.
Yeah, so I almost put a couple of honorable mentions for like Junior Seau and a couple of other young players that
Yeah.
passed away.
Yep. Junior Seau's a good one. Number 4, I have Franco Harris.
Oh.
The immaculate reception, man. The immaculate reception. That is so cool. I love that play, and Harris is the one who made it happen, so he's up there.
Yeah, can't argue that.
Number 3, I have Larry Fitzgerald.
Yep, Larry Fitzgerald was on the short end of my list. He was at number like 11.
Yep. I am a big Larry Fitzgerald fan.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, I have Barry Sanders.
Good one. Very good one.
Yep. There's just it's super cool to watch him and how he played. And as we've talked about before, I have one quarterback on this list, and he is my number 1, my favorite all-time player if we're out excluding Bears players. Breeze.
Oh, Breeze.
Yep, I love Drew Brees.
Honestly, I thought you were gonna say Tom Brady just to mess with me.
Nope. Drew Brees all the way.
I will say I love Drew Brees, and it was so hard not putting him one because honestly, it's pretty close to a tie between Brees and Manning for me.
Right. Yeah, I understand. Manning is probably an honorable mention for me. I do love Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning, I just have to tip my hat off to him because he just ran the AFC South for so long. I'm like, no matter what anyone does, we just can't stop him.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
I will say, I love that you put Larry Fitzgerald because I still remember playing, I think it was Madden 10, where it was like the cover athletes were Larry Fitzgerald and Troy Polamalu, and it always just showed them going like colliding with each other, and I'm like, man, these two players are phenomenal.
It's so true. I do really enjoy that you put Troy Polamalu at number 1. I mean, that's a good player.
I love Troy Polamalu. I have just the hair, the commercials, his swag, just everything. I love Troy Polamalu.
Yeah, good pick.
He was also like the player that he just knew when that ball was coming out because he would be able to run, jump over the lineman as the ball was being hiked, and get to the quarterback.
He was incredibly smart.
Like it
very
was
high football IQ.
Which is what so many quarterbacks I think were saying was just it doesn't matter when we snap the ball, he is going to be on top of us in a second.
Yeah.
But I just remember him diving over the lineman, hitting the quarterback the second the ball was snapped, and I'm just like, geez. Any player that can do that is dangerous.
Yeah. That's the truth. Well, with that, that's the end of our episode. We've done our For the Fun. We've talked about the Super Bowl, which it'll be a fun. I think there'll still be some fun parts of the game that we'll be seeing on Sunday. Yeah. It's not the matchup that everyone wanted, but it'll still be, an intriguing enough Super Bowl for people to get into, to some level. And with that, Shane, I mean, we'll be back here a week from now to basically recap the Super Bowl and recap the season, and then we go on break until the draft.
Woo woo! And we got some interesting things I think lining up for next season right now.
We do. We're gonna keep those hush hush under the radar for now because we're not even gonna drop them until next season. It's not even dropping until the draft, but. Yeah, we've got some fun plans for next season.
Oh, yeah. Next season's going to be a very, very good one. There's going to be some changes with some things, but we think it's going to be for the better. And honestly, like some of our For the Funs I think we have lined up are going to be awesome.
Yeah. I definitely feel like we're getting better and better with each season.
Heck
so I
yeah.
feel like this is going to be a new show of that for next season. I'm very excited about it.
But with that, we will see you all next week after the results of the Super Bowl. We may either be really, really happy or really, really sad.
Yeah, we'll see. Hard to say.
Yep. But until then, we will see you next time.
Have a good night, everyone.